In our next coaster review, we are reviewing what I thought was the best coaster that I rode on the road trip I was at this past summer. We hit over 75 roller coasters, and by far, this was our favorite. This is one of the most incredible roller coasters I have ever ridden. It is top 10 all the way. This is Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. And oh my gosh, like right off the bat, guys, you have to experience this coaster at some point. It is amazing. So just a heads up, most of this video will be me raving about the thing. I will kind of get a little nitpicky into it, but for the most part, I have nothing but good things to say about it. So let's start with some of the stats. So we see that it has a height of 109 feet, which is not tall at all. So it is absolutely incredible that this thing hits 55 miles per hour and keeps that speed and feels like you're going even faster. You're going down this drop at 78 degrees, and let me just say, guys, this is a backseat ride. Every RMC except for Lightning Rod I have liked better in the back, and this is no exception. When you get flung over that awesome drop, man, it is just like nothing else. So following that, we have 3 inversions on this ride. 2 of them are 0G rolls, and one of them is the 0G stall. And this is actually the only one like it in the world. There are other stalls out there, like there's one on Goliath and one on Twisted Colossus. But this one is kind of unique because of the way it flips you. It's like a temporary stall. It does this right after that big overbank, and then you are aggressively flipped back around. Like if I had one word to describe this roller coaster, it is aggressive. This is a very intense and powerful ride. This is not going to be for everyone. This is going to be for the real adrenaline junkies who are looking for a big thrill and don't mind getting tossed around. I think Superman will always be the fan favorite in the park, kind of the one that the public and then the enthusiasts can all like. But the real hardcore coaster enthusiasts are going to like this better because of just how insane this ride is. It is one element right after another. RMC has done some incredible rides, and this is absolutely towards the top. It's not my favorite RMC, but man, it is up there. Like I said, top 10 worthy. So the last stat is that this does have a track length of 3,320 feet. And just in general, this is a long ride. The layout has you woven in and around yourself a couple of times. It is jam-packed action from start to finish. There's no mid-course. You don't slow down at all. Every element on this ride is amazing. So when you eventually do slam to a stop, you are just overcome. You're like, wow, holy moly, what just happened? I got to ride this about 9 times, and actually the only reason why I didn't get to ride it one more time to make it an even 10 is because they have this policy set in place where you can't re-ride. You have to go back and walk all the way around. So when I went on a dead day, it is kind of annoying when you have to walk all the way back around and you can't just stay in your seat. So because I did end up getting one less ride than I would have liked, but still, I rode it enough times in that one day that I really got a good feel for it. I rode it in several different seats. Front row is amazing, but I think back is where it's at. But really, you got to make sure to do both. So let's break this down element by element and talking about the queue and the theming and all that good stuff. So you're walking under the entrance sign, and you're seeing lots of wrecked stuff. So there's a wrecked airplane, wrecked boat. It's as if a really wicked cyclone blew through. And Six Flags being Six Flags, they actually did a pretty darn good job with this. Like as far as RMCs go, it's kind of hard to put theming during the ride experience. So instead they put a bunch of theming during the queue. And part of the queue is when you're in the center of the ride. So you kind of see all the stuff that the Cyclone has destroyed. And when you enter the station, there's a bunch of newspaper articles on the right-hand side wall talking about how this storm is absolutely massive. And there's a video playing of a guy talking about it, and they're talking about the Cyclone as if it were the ride, but also a real storm. So it's pretty cool how they did that. So you enter the trains. These do have the traditional RMC trains and restraints. And these are the kind of restraints that are pretty bulky, so if you were to have a little bit more wiggle room and you're not stapled, then your restraint probably isn't going to come down super hard during the ride. It's just enough where you can be sure to get plenty of airtime. So you start going up that lift hill, and this is actually a fairly steep lift hill. Like when I was watching videos, it didn't look super steep, but when you're going up, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty steep angle of ascent. So I talked about the drop. That first massive bank turn is absolutely awesome. Talked about the stall. The next series of elements is going to be a bunch of bank turns, and you do have this awesome double down. I mean, any double down is going to be great, but man, I mean, this one really throws you. And you're going to have some tightly packed bank turns, If I had to really add a critique, maybe something that I would change, I'm not too crazy on some of these outer bank turns that they put in. There's about 2 of them. There's one underneath that first massive bank turn, and then there's one right before the photo camera that takes your picture. Not too crazy on it. I mean, it's pretty weird. I mean, it absolutely does throw you out of your seat, but it's just kind of an unusual feeling. So I wasn't too crazy about that. I think it's still cool, but I think I would have rather had like an inner bank turn like normal instead of having this like weird feeling where that throws you out and then back in. But I mean, like I said, this ride really does try to throw you around, so that is a good example of it really just kind of throwing everything at you. As I mentioned, there are 2 0G rolls on this ride. Both of them are fantastic. I mean, this is the kind of ride where you're going to want to have your hands up just the whole time. It is just so exhilarating. Those inversions are, super smooth. I mean, this whole ride, the track is absolutely smooth. And just in general, I think Six Flags New England and RMC absolutely knocked it out of the park with this ride. So for its final score, I don't think this should surprise anyone. Yes, I'm giving Wicked Cyclone a 10. Enough said. I think I've done enough raving in this video. I mean, I don't really feel that I need to back up my decision to give it a 10. It is just that good. You guys have to come out and ride Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Post all your comments below about what you thought of this review. Make sure to stay tuned for more reviews on my channel. And if you're new to Coaster Studios, you can check out a full playlist I have organized in alphabetical order of all of the other rides that I've reviewed. So you can go ahead and check that out, and I'll catch you guys later.